as regards sport, the one and only sport that I was ever interested in was bowl playing, and that was more or less full time. We were always at it. Every chance we got after working in the evening in the garden at home, out on the roads and bowl playing, and that's where we spent most of our time. It possibly kept us out of a lot of trouble too, maybe at the time. I started at a very early age, and whilst my mother was totally against me having anything to do with bowl playing, because she could see what was happening all around, that bowling inevitably ended at a public house, and to be a great bowl player, backers always felt that you should be a point man, you should have a few points, you'd be a better bowl player if you were. But I never had any inclination to drink at all. It never troubled me, it never worried me. I just got on without it, I didn't want it. So for that reason, my mother thought like that I'd have to be like the rest. And she used to always say, look, for heaven's sake, don't be bowl playing, it's only a mug's game. But yet and all, for minding the kids while she'd be in town of a Saturday, she'd always bring me a 24-ounce bowl. So on the one hand, she was condemning bowl playing out of hand, and on the other hand, she was encouraging me to play by bringing me the bowl. But of course, that was, she had another way of looking at that. She felt that when I'd feel that a bowl was coming, that I'd take more care of the kids and wouldn't allow anything to happen to them. But as for going with a girl, completely out of the question. Too preoccupied with the bowl playing. But suddenly, a platform started in Waterfall. I don't know if there are any platforms around now, but that was square little arena like, maybe 20 feet square or 30 feet square, where you'd have a fellow with a gadget playing the tunes and we dancing. And we went up there anyway with hobnail boots, and they were all to go at the time, of course. And we weren't slow to drag the girls out either, mind you. The only thing was that they weren't slow either to drag their feet away from us, because there was a lot of overreaching with us, not used to the dancing, and I'm sure there were a lot of black toenails in the morning with some of the girls. Anyway, that went on for a month. And finally, we decided to go to another platform, Togher, which was a monstrous one of the finest around, one of the biggest around. And I went over there, and the first night over there anyway, I spotted a girl with a few more like, and God, I said, I have an idea I'll be asking her up for a dance. So I did. I'm sure I was only able to drag my legs after, but at the same time I asked her out for a dance. And having danced with her, I asked her to see her home. But there was no way. There was no way at all. But the other chap who was with me, he was dancing with another girl who was a friend of the girl that I was dancing with, and God, he was going home with his girl anyway. So I don't know whether I had a proper borderline or not, but to the appear I hadn't. However, she waited outside and I walked up the road with her, and that's where it all started. She was so sincere, and she was so honourable, and she was so honest, and she was, that was now prior to marrying her. She couldn't believe for a moment that I wasn't drinking or smoking, which I never did. She just couldn't believe that, because that was all the rage like. And when I got married to her then, it was then her true qualities came out. She was one in a million, I always thought. Having got married, it was all agreed beforehand. Well, there was no agreeing with the wife, because she was as anxious that I'd go bowl playing as I was myself, and anything that I won, she shared in it. So for that reason, I'd say she'd be happy enough about I going bowl playing. But I was debarred from playing for 10 years because I was considered to be too good. And I remember having won a certain tournament. Another tournament was organised for another venue not far away from where I won the first one, and the advertisement said that the recent winner of such a tournament, which was me, is debarred. So they thought up another thing then in order to keep me out, and that was to make tournaments invitation. So if you weren't invited, you just couldn't take part. This went on for a good while until Unbold came into being, and they set the thing right. They introduced a whole set of rules, and the invitations were done away with. Tournaments were started, and if you were an affiliated player, you were entitled to play in any tournament, and that's what gave me the opening. And it's because of that I won so much. Offhand, it's hard to remember how many championships I won or how many tournaments I won. I won a considerable amount of tournaments. I think I won 13 championships. I won 3 European championships. We used to organise going to Germany and Holland as well, and that's still on the go. And it was a grand experience going out there, and it was an experience too to see the way they behaved out there, because they were underarms, we have a full complete swing, although they're underarm in Northern Ireland too, in Armagh, but they're swifter, they're different, run faster and everything. They're very good too, for that matter. But it was an experience to get out to Holland and out to Germany first of all, to see the places that we'd have no chance for seeing at all if we hadn't been in the bowl playing and in bowl coming too, for that matter. But I just can't tell you how many tournaments I won. Initially, I felt that perhaps I'd never gotten on to gardening, but in time I got to like it, and it was something that I liked doing because of the fact that people coming into college would admire the setup and would admire the way the things were done, and would pass comments, favourable comments, which would come to your ears, and that was further encouragement to try and do better the next time.